What if I told you that the world's richest man, Jeff Bezos, wasn't always a billionaire? In fact, he took one of the biggest risks of his life when he decided to quit his high-paying job and start a business in an industry that barely existed at the time. In 1994, Bezos launched Amazon, a tiny online bookstore in a garage. It wasn't an obvious move. It wasn't safe. It wasn't guaranteed to work. But it did. In this video, we'll explore why Jeff Bezos took that huge leap of faith and how his decision to risk everything turned Amazon into one of the world's most valuable companies. The risk of leaving a stable career. Jeff Bezos' story didn't start in Silicon Valley. It began in New York City, where he worked on Wall Street. He was doing well. At Bankers Trust, Bezos had a solid career with a steady paycheck and the promise of a successful future. Then, he went to work for D.E. Shaw & Co., a prestigious hedge fund. From the outside, his career looked perfect. He was climbing the corporate ladder in one of the most competitive industries in the world. But while many people would have been content to stay on that secure path, Bezos was dreaming bigger. He had a vision that was far outside the comfort zone of his job. In 1994, Bezos came across a statistic that changed everything for him. The internet was growing at an exponential rate, doubling in size every year. The potential to sell products online was becoming clear. It was a gamble, a massive one. But Bezos saw an opportunity that no one else was paying attention to. He decided to leave his high-paying job and move to Seattle, a city that had no particular reputation for tech startups at the time. His decision was met with confusion. His friends and family didn't understand why he was giving up a promising career in finance to launch an online bookstore. It didn't make sense, but Bezos believed in his vision, and he was willing to risk everything for it. The reality was harsh. Bezos was walking away from financial stability to launch an idea that hadn't been proven. There were no guarantees, and failure could have meant personal and professional disaster. Yet, Bezos bet on the future of the internet and his belief in its potential to change the world. He chose to risk everything: his financial security, his career, and his reputation, to build something new, revolutionary, and uncertain. The early days. Building Amazon from scratch. The decision to leave Wall Street was only the first step in a long and uncertain journey. Bezos's idea was simple but bold: to create an online marketplace where people could buy books. At the time, the idea of selling anything online was practically unheard of. E-commerce was still in its infancy, and the concept of buying products from an unknown website seemed far-fetched to most people. Amazon was built in a garage, literally. Bezos and his small team of engineers worked long hours, coding the website and testing it to see if people would even buy books online. But the obstacles didn't stop there. Amazon's early days were marked by failures, challenges, and an unpredictable market. It was difficult to convince customers that it was safe to buy online, and the logistics of delivering physical books to customers was a monumental challenge. At the time, there was no Amazon Prime or fast delivery. It was slow shipping, and every sale required Bezos to carefully manage inventory and customer service. In fact, during the early years, Bezos faced numerous challenges, from financial struggles to doubts about the company's long-term viability. Amazon didn't even make a profit for years. But Bezos was obsessed with growth. He didn't care about short-term profits. His vision was always bigger. He wanted to build a platform that was scalable, reliable, and capable of doing more than just selling books. Bezos knew that Amazon needed to expand to become a giant in e-commerce. He didn't just want to sell books. He wanted Amazon to be the place where people bought everything. The first big risk, going beyond books. In the early years, Amazon was simply an online bookstore, but Jeff Bezos had a bigger vision. Books were just the beginning. Bezos knew that to truly revolutionize retail, Amazon needed to sell everything. However, this was a huge risk. The decision to expand beyond books wasn't an easy one. It meant investing in inventory, diversifying the product range, and betting that consumers would trust Amazon enough to buy things like electronics, clothes, and even groceries. The strategy involved entering markets that were extremely competitive and already dominated by well-established players. Expanding the product selection wasn't without its obstacles. New inventory systems, warehouses, and supply chains had to be built, all while Amazon was still in the red. The risk was so high that even Bezos's investors were worried. They asked him to stick with books and scale slowly. But Bezos understood the potential of his company better than anyone else. He knew that Amazon's future depended on being more than just a bookstore. By the end of the 1990s, Amazon was branching out into categories like electronics, toys, and home goods, effectively laying the foundation for the world's largest e-commerce platform. It was a move that required Bezos to trust his vision, even when many doubted it. He risked alienating some of Amazon's early supporters, but it paid off. Over the next decade, Amazon became the go-to platform for all things retail. The bold decision to expand beyond books allowed Amazon to capture an ever-growing market, far beyond Bezos's initial dreams. The Amazon Web Services gamble. In the early 2000s, Bezos made another incredibly risky move. He launched Amazon Web Services. At the time, Amazon was primarily an online retailer, and AWS was a completely new business model, a move that turned Amazon into a cloud computing giant. The concept of providing cloud services to businesses was revolutionary, but it wasn't a guaranteed success. Amazon was already stretched thin with its core e-commerce business, and entering a completely new field of technology felt like an enormous gamble. The cloud computing industry was just beginning to take off, and AWS was an untested concept. Bezos bet on the long-term potential of cloud technology and made the decision to invest heavily in AWS, even when others in the industry questioned whether Amazon should stay focused on retail. It was a decision that would reshape the entire tech landscape. Today, AWS generates billions of dollars annually and has become one of the most profitable parts of Amazon's business, helping fund its continued growth and expansion. In hindsight, AWS was a massive win for Bezos, but it was a risk that many investors initially didn't understand. Again, Bezos trusted his instincts and focused on building long-term value instead of seeking short-term profits. It was a strategic gamble that positioned Amazon to become not just a retail leader, but also a tech titan. The mindset of risk. Why Bezos took the leap. Why did Jeff Bezos take such massive risks when everyone around him was telling him to play it safe? The answer lies in his mindset. Bezos has always been someone who thinks long-term. While many CEOs focus on short-term profits or immediate returns, Bezos has always emphasized the importance of taking calculated risks to build something that lasts. For Bezos, failure was never a fear. It was an opportunity to learn. He saw failure as part of the process, not the end of the road. This mindset has been crucial to Amazon's success. Instead of avoiding risk, Bezos embraced it as a way to grow and innovate. Every risk he took was about looking ahead, imagining what could be, and believing that the future was worth betting on. How you can apply Bezos's formula to your life. Jeff Bezos's story isn't just about the rise of Amazon. It's about how taking risks, trusting your vision and thinking long-term can lead to incredible success. His approach to business and decision-making holds valuable lessons that anyone can apply to their own life, whether it's in career choices, entrepreneurship, or personal growth. The first lesson is don't be afraid to take risks. Bezos didn't let fear of failure stop him from quitting his stable job or betting on new ideas. He understood that without risk, there's no reward. Most people hesitate when faced with uncertainty, but the reality is that growth only happens when you step outside of your comfort zone. Whether it's changing careers, launching a business, or pursuing a passion, taking risks is the first step toward achieving something great. Another key lesson is to think long-term. Bezos focused on building a company that would last, not just one that would make quick profits. He believed in delayed gratification and making decisions that would benefit Amazon decades into the future. In your own life, ask yourself, what do I want to create in 5, 10, or 20 years? Long-term thinking helps guide your choices today so that they align with the bigger picture of your success. Equally important is the ability to embrace failure as a learning experience. Bezos didn't see failure as the end. He saw it as part of the process. Every mistake or setback was an opportunity to learn, improve, and adapt. Instead of fearing failure, use it as a stepping stone toward growth. Failure doesn't define you, it refines you. The most successful people in the world are the ones who learn from their mistakes and keep pushing forward. Finally, stay obsessed with customer experience. One of Amazon's greatest strengths has always been its focus on delivering value to customers. Bezos built a company that wasn't just about selling products. It was about providing the best experience possible. In your personal and professional life, think about how you can add value to others. Whether it's in business, relationships, or leadership, focusing on serving others will always lead to greater opportunities and long-term success. At the core of Bezos's formula is the mindset that big risks lead to big rewards. If you believe in your vision, think long-term, and embrace failures as lessons, you can achieve things far beyond what you thought possible. The question is, are you willing to take that leap? Jeff Bezos took the biggest risk of his life when he left his stable job to build Amazon, a company that started in a garage and has since changed the world. He took that risk because he believed in his vision, and he embraced failure as part of the journey. Today, Amazon is one of the most successful companies in the world, proving that big risks often lead to big rewards. What risk will you take to create your own future? The lessons from Jeff Bezos are clear. Believe in your vision, think long-term, and never be afraid to take a chance. If this video resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to Rise and Inspire.